How's it going, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be showing off some of the fights that I managed to have in the PvP All-Star Tournament, the first of its kinds. There are going to be a lot of you that have actually seen this live. It was one hell of a stream. The tournament itself was absolutely epic in my opinion. I would, however, like to hear how it came across to you guys. How enjoyable was it to watch? Did you guys genuinely enjoy it? And what you think was good and what you think could do with some improvement. Unfortunately, I would have actually advertised the fact that I was competing if I had known that I was competing. I was only informed maybe 2 or 3 days before the event itself that they wanted me to compete on stage. Before I could take part in the tournament, I had to beat Mr. C Engineer in the best of 3 tribrid fights to claim my spot. And without any further ado, here are the fights.
Hey guys, Archie here. Join at the All-Stars PvP Championship. We have 16 of your favorite content creators competing for a shot at $30,000. Now unfortunately, Sickner did have to back out. We've got C Engineer versus Racy playing for the replacement spot. Let's see what happened yesterday.
Round 1. Final round! The winner is Racy.
Racy, the 70 defense fight starts right now.
And straight away we can see Racy going in for the freeze, however gets a splash. Torvesta opting to use his bow, but doesn't get a hit whilst he's going against the Protect from Mage. Neither opponent's managing to freeze each other just yet. It seems like both splashing again on the barrage casts there. Interestingly, it looks like they have both decided to opt for the ACB as well as for their +1s. And just as they happen to catch a freeze, they both freeze one another.
Yeah, only the big difference here is between the gear is Torag legs versus Varrock's skirt, Gutlin's helm versus Torag's helm, so nothing, too major between both these players. They got the same weapon, same spec weapon. They got the same +1. So pretty even. They're even both using Bastion potions.
Yeah, indeed. Both opted for the same number of brews as well. And their stand fuse, not one of them decided to opt for the recoil, which I don't think is a good choice in the 70 defense matchup.
I feel like he's outputted, what, like 130 damage at least from his whip alone. ACB spec there just to, maybe showboat a little bit. He's got 2 anglers and a brew sip left. We've seen close comebacks almost happen in some of these fights, but I think Racy has this one in the bag.
I think there was a point where Torvesta could have actually won when he got his ranged hit, because it was actually a special hit, and there we have it. Racy has managed to win this fight. Congratulations to him. Torvesta does unfortunately perish in the first fight. We're going to be moving on to a 1 defense fight very soon, but that was Torvesta's favorite category.
Here we go, entering the arena. Racy versus Torvesta. As it stands, Racy up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. It's time for the 1 defense fight. Both players starting out with the range hit. Now it's going to be freeze to follow up. Who could catch it? Looks like it's Racy, but Torvesta also catches his, so 1 square between both players.
Going to be exchanging hits here a little bit. You can see between the magic and ranged. Neither player is opting to use any fakies at the moment. Torvesta trying to get in a magic hit. Has faked back down into range, but Racy didn't change his prayer once. So worked out in his favor. They are now both trying to fake these switches out. Both of them sticking, however, nice DDS spec from Torvesta. Could have ended the fight there and then.
That 34 through prayer. Pretty impressive. And also looking at Racy's inventory, he opted to bring 3 Karambwans here, so he could combo it with the Angler, the Brew, and the Karambwan, healing a lot of HP in just 1 game tick. So forcing him to use that Karambwan early on. Sure, that's why Racy brings it, but just limiting the overall food is good for Torvesta here. Both players currently frozen away from each other, but that freeze is close to expiring. Look for him to throw some Haymaker DDS specs at one another again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if those manage to hit. And here you can go, you have it! Wow! Just like that, the fight is over. Both players go in to spec against one another, and unfortunately, for Racy, the Torvesta DDS poke was just too much. Round 3 of Torvesta versus Racy.
What a perfect segue from you, Aiza. And look, some of you out there may even be watching this on a mobile device, so go out there, download it, and there's no XP waste while you're away from home. But here you go, Racy versus Torvesta. This is the deciding fight as the action, well, now starts off. So now that there are no squares between these players, they have to worry about all forms of attack.
Wow.
A 30 DDS spec through prayer, as Torvesta should be taking a food advantage here.
Really nice hits to be exchanged there. Very close call for Racy as well. He could have been taken out by Torvesta at that moment. I believe he changed prayers just as he got hit by that spec just in time, but then nearly changed it wrong afterwards. However, both players now have a little bit of a gap between them. Racy has managed to freeze Torvesta in place, opting to do some step unders here. He might have just been counter frozen though. He's now stuck in a diagonal position, meaning we're only going to see mage range.
Through Torvesta caught the freeze there, so that was a little bit awkward for Racy because you saw he wanted to do a melee attack right after.
Yep.
So both players, as you're saying, frozen on the diagonal square, which means no melee damage available. So you're just swapping between magic and range, looking to fake out your opponent. And we've already seen that range could do some big damage even through prayer, just like that. Now both players frozen away from one another. Big bolt hit for Racy, as now he's taking the food advantage by a significant margin. He's up in HP, up in food. Things looking good for him. But Torvesta, he's got some spec available, whereas Racy doesn't. One more tick and he'll have 2 DDS specs to throw at his opponent.
Wow, there's a really nice barrage as well.
There's the DDS spec. He was waiting to brew up, right? I think he had a super combat active, so he didn't want to brew down for his DDS spec, but unfortunately for Torvesta,
wow,
losing the first fight there to Racy as he takes it 2-1.
A fantastic finish from Racy as well with that nice combo. As we said before, the leaf-bladed battle axe has a little bit of delay as to when the damage registers, so you can stack it with things, especially if you have a barrage at a little bit of a distance, and you can run in on the same tick that you've cast it.
That's a huge win for Racy, and speaking of replays, here they are.
Maybe you're the psychic one now because, well, you've just said there was replays, and then those replays appeared, and that first fight was an unfortunate way for Racy to go down from the bolt, actually, more than anything.
Dominated in this fight. Look, he's bringing his Sarasword in his inventory, trying to troll a little bit, but Racy dominated, it seems like, from the start. I mean, look at the food he has left at this point in time. Maybe cuts a little bit closer towards the end. Ditter does a decent job at bringing it back, but good starts, could snowball into big victories.
Yeah, interestingly, I wonder how that panned out for him. I know it meant that he lost the game, but was it because of the Sarasword, or was it just the fact that Racy was so good during that entire fight that helped keep him ahead?
So I heard that Racy got some big specs in throughout this fight. Huge bolt hits as well. Look at these switches as well coming in, just forcing Ditter Bitter. The more clicks you force your opponent to do, the more likely they're able to make a mistake, whether it's with gear switches, whether it's with prayer switches, trying to force mistakes out of your opponent. This one comes down to the wire. Those couple big specs coming in from Racy early on paid off big time. You see one brew dose left as Racy takes it 2-1 over Ditter Bitter. And just like we were mentioning in the off-stream matchup, Racy took that 2-0 over foe. Not that it mattered, all things considered, Racy was already guaranteed through to the bracket stage.
Yep. Let's have a quick look at how those fights panned out. We can see here the first fight, 70 defense, Racy against foe. Not that much of an advantage to Racy. I know he's only 8-2, but foe has managed to keep himself in. He's got a fair amount of brews left as well. However, yeah, you kind of like, I think your advice sticks true to this one. You can't die if you eat.
Yeah, true facts have never been spoken. Was excited to see if the Dowrix was able to do anything, but Racy knew the situation, just made sure to camp magic, and you saw foe kind of hugging his melee prey there. This fight, a lot closer. Seems like foe had a much better fighting chance in the one defense builds for the most part, at least from what we've seen from the replays. They've only been decided by like a maximum of like 2 pieces of food, a few brew sips left, so keeping those fights a little bit closer than expected.
Yeah.
Racy, you have moved on out of your group to move into the quarters. How are you feeling?
I feel exhausted, honestly. I'm super tired again. That was fun. That was really fun. I felt really sluggish to begin with, the first 2 fights. I was so nervous, and then got rid of it, got into it, and yeah, I feel like I did quite well, so.
Right, so it's yourself and Ditter Bitter progressing. How do you feel about potentially fighting him again in the future?
Right, so like I just said to him, when I was fighting him, he was fighting a lot worse than what he actually is. And that's no disrespect, it's nerves, do you know what I mean? Like, I was fighting him, I was like, he's way better than this, but it comes down to nerves. I expect when I fight him next, he'll kick my ass, you know? That's my prediction.
Are these tactics? What's going on? You trying to big his ego up?
I don't know, I feel high on life right now. I'm just talking shit, to be honest. I don't know.
Right, Racy's just glad to be here, and he's doing great. He moves on.
So The final quarterfinal match of the day. Racy faced up against MMORPG. Winner advances to the semifinals to face off against Bitter. Let's get it going.
Right away, MMORPG going in for the freeze against Racy. Does manage to catch it. Is going to start using those step unders. Racy not having good luck with getting the freeze back onto MMORPG. Unfortunate. He needs a bit of that, bitter magic.
Yes, he does, and both would like to bring the ACB this time. We're going to see some early specs. Racy has been not as quick to drop his in most of his fights. Not only that, we see some different helmets here. Curtis ended up going with the Nezi helm, MMORPG, whereas Racy has opted for the Varrock helm, which I'm not sure why he wanted to choose that one. A little bit more prey bonus, but if he went with the Guthan or the Torag, he's going to get 6 more range defense bonus out of that, which is so important in these fights so far. Everyone's opting for that ACB, and you really need that.
Especially considering that they have 99 prayer on these accounts. I don't think the prayer bonus is certainly as worth it, but I do think the helmet looks cooler.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little bit of fashion skate.
He definitely does. Maybe he just wanted to go in here looking his best, feeling absolute confident as he could do, and then it's going to hopefully give him the ability to switch better and take his opponent down with style.
So Racy unfrozen here, and Curtis is a little bit low on his health. MMORPG is going to risk some specs here, and there's one. He's probably going to double spec, and there it is. He almost takes him down to 3 HP.
MMORPG, please do not forget to eat. It is the most important part of staying alive.
Seems like it was almost like 7 splashers between them. Cumulative.
So we'll see if we see the fakies here, and there it is from MMO. He's going to try to get Racy to switch his prey over to Mage so he can get the strong range hit, and he might actually end up dropping down a little bit here.
Wow, MMORPG now out of food and only 5 HP left with 19 and a 25 bolt.
What an ending. MMORPG taking the first fight against my prediction, which I thought Racy would pull on the 70 defense.
May I just add?
RPG and pressure under Racy as he's currently down 0-1 in the series.
Both opting to bring the leaf-bladed axes, so they're not going to be able to switch from that to the DDS2 successfully to bring in a spec. And it looks like Curtis, MMORPG, does start with a freeze, and he's got him in the corner, which is so easy to step under. Let's see, and Racy does pull back the freeze there.
Huge amount of damage coming out from both players there, dropping very low, but managing to eat up with decent combos.
And interesting enough, MMORPG did that without wasting a spec, so he got him down to about 10 to 15 health there. He could have just risked it and went for that and maybe pulled out something early. Looks like that's what Racy is trying to go for here, or at least just trying to get some insane DPS done very soon here.
Yeah, these guys are trading haymakers back and forth. Now looking to close the gap. Another big DDS spec, 55 total damage as
nearly taken out by a recoil.
Was he down to like 2 HP there?
About 5 there, yeah. Luckily, Racy didn't get the double D-dagger spec, which is what he was looking for there. MMORPG was able to step under and pulls back a beautiful spec on Racy. Double in a row, but that one on Protect Melee, and he does get the range switch for that one.
Deciding to just drop all of his specs there and then, not having to worry about them for the rest of the fight. Did manage to do some decent damage, but once again, he's just not eating as much as he needs to be, and this damage is going to keep coming from Racy here.
He does have that Carabon still, so he can still Angler Brew to the Karam to try to catch up here, which he hasn't done. I'm not sure that he sees it.
Well, that's on the side of Racy.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm confused here.
It's all good. We all make mistakes. Curtis down to just 2 anglers, 1 Brusep. Racy certainly in the lead in terms of supplies, in terms of HP, but with that freeze, there's a chance here for MMORPG to bring it back in his favor. Trying to make the DDs go his way, but if you're Racy, you're just spam clicking right now, trying to get
really
that
nice
damage,
hits,
but that's a big battle axe hit.
And this is smart from MMORPG because he knows that Racy knows that he just dropped 4 specs in a row, so he's going to choose that range prey a little bit more often when he steps under, so he's trying to take advantage of that by trying to get a little bit more DPS out with his melee
Please
hits.
eat, please eat. He's got 1 food left. MMORPG, don't waste it. There we go. No food left for MMORPG. Racy left with 2 anglers and 1 Brusip left. MMORPG down to 11 HP. These next few hits are going to determine it. I think Racy is just, don't risk it, just eat up, and there we have it. A 17 bolt hit going through. It's now 1-all.
It's going to keep it exciting.
The last fight of the quarterfinals decides who is going to be going into the semifinals up against Bitter. Is it going to be MMORPG or is it going to be Racy?
I don't know which way I'm going to lean here. I think I'm going to give the advantage to MMORPG just because the 45 defense is that's his favorite category.
Oh, come on, man. We both went for Racy going into this one. You can't go
but
back
I thought he would take it on the 1 defense fight. Or actually, I thought he would take it on the 70 defense fight. So I had that wrong from the beginning.
Really nice. 41 leaf bait Valax there. MMORPG really needs to come out of those robes and switch into the tank gear whilst he's just being absolutely trained on by Racy here. This advantage is what we talked about earlier, only a few moments ago. The start of these fights, if you manage to get enough damage to snowball, you just literally take control of the entire rest of it.
Scary moment there as Racy was around like 45 HP before he decides to eat up.
Absolutely. Could have eaten 1 or 2 dagger specs there that, you know, even the first one could have dropped him. So a little bit of confidence there on Racy's side that MMORPG is just going to eat up and not try to attack back. Neither one going for too many freezes. MMORPG really has tried to stay away from him and has really stuck on that ACB quite a bit this fight so far.
Yeah, I think Racy has noticed that MMORPG likes to rely on that freeze a lot, which means he spends a lot of time in robes. However, Racy nearly did fall there, not eating when he should be doing. Don't pull an MMORPG, don't risk it when you don't need to. Make sure he eats up. But one of the things I've noticed is that MMORPG does love to rely on those freezes. He spends a lot of time in his robes and focusing on his prayers and just trying to keep himself alive, aside from eating all the time. And I believe that's probably why you're seeing Racy not worry so much about having to actually get in those freezes, because he's dealing so much damage with every other attack style.
Down to 12 HP. MMORPG has to eat up. Racy now closing the distance. Nice little poke.
A little bit of a poke there.
Not doing too much damage, but the spec follow with the 32. You'll take that any day of the week. Is now just trying to freeze their opponents away. Looks like MMORPG did not catch that one. Back into robes. Can you trap him in the corner? Yes, he can.
He does. Smart of him to keep the Infinity Robe bottoms there on instead of putting on the rune plate legs, because he wasn't frozen at that point. He does want to try to keep a little bit more magic defense, which is why he went with that with the Black D hide top there.
Good decision from MMORPG, but he's down to just 1 anglerfish, 2 brews. Comparing that to the inventory of Racy, you could see this fight is a little bit lopsided, but still opportunities. If MMORPG is able to work perfect ticks and perfect step unders, it's still doable.
It's just one DDS spec that could turn this fight around completely for him.
It looks like we're going to see the last brew doses from MMORPG here. He hasn't opted to use them yet, but he can step under here, so he's going to have a little bit of time to catch up. He's still got 1 Bastion potion, so he's going to get his range back up. He's got 1 spec right now, and it's probably going to be another 20 seconds or so before he gets that second one up. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but it doesn't look like it's leaning in MMORPG's favor here.
I think as soon as we see the next freeze come out from Racy, it's going to be the end of this tournament run for MMORPG. However, crazier things have happened in this world, and MMORPG does now have 2 specs. So if he can manage to just stop Racy from moving around, if he just specs now potentially, just forcing him to have to eat up and take the rest of his food, they'll both be pretty much at even playing field. But 28 hit points left, now only 15 for MMORPG. It doesn't look like it's going to go too well in his favor.
No, and I just want to say real quick before this fight ends, I never left Racy's corner. I was behind him from the start. He comes out on top, advancing to the semifinals where he'll face off against Bitter.
I appreciate the iron of doing so,
He did.
thus far.
Huge props to MMORPG for getting as far as he did. I think he surprised a lot of us, myself included. I knew that he was a good player, but he has really stepped up to another level ready for this tournament. I have to say it, I don't always like saying it, but it does seem that I was, in fact, right. I did predict that MMORPG would win the first fight, and then Racy would win.
Thank you, Maraiza. I'm joined here with the last quarterfinalists. We have MMORPG taking home $500 and Racy winning himself a minimum of $1,500. Not too bad, guys. Talk to me about that fight, Curtis.
So yeah, the last fight came down to the Zerk. Quite comfortable on a Zerk. I've done a lot of PvP world practice on it, but it's a lot different when you know that obviously if you lose this fight, you're out of the tournament completely. Wouldn't really say the nerves got to me, but Racy, you know, he's been stomping the competition. It's been like a really good story for him to come from, you know, not playing at all to suddenly into the semi-finals. So honestly, well-deserved win.
Right, Racy, you lost the first fight, but then redeemed yourself by winning the second and third, the third one quite convincingly. What did you do to change pace there?
It's just nerves. Like, I thought I'd have got past this by now, but clearly not. Like, I just get nervous. You know, I'm bricking it the first couple, like 2 rounds, then third round I'm myself and I got a hang of it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was good, it was fun, you know.
Right, now you've got yourself Bitter, Bodhi, and Manked to go up against in the semifinals. Yeah. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I've already beaten Ditter. I don't know, we'll see. I don't want to say anything, you know, because I look like a right tit after when he smashes me. I don't want to say much.
Okay, and MMORPG, we're going to keep with this. Do you have any advice for Racy going into the semis?
Well, you know, he beat Dit a bit once, so, you know, just keep the humbleness going and just go into it muscle memory. Honestly, when you're tired, you do better because muscle memory takes over, so keep going, man.
Maybe hold off on that Red Bull then. All right, thanks so much, guys. Back to the casters.
Parts of it. Anyways, jump right into it. Bitter versus Racy in this best of 5 semi-final. Winner of here goes into the finals versus Manked Up Mage, and the first freeze being caught by Racy. Can he get a DD? if he wants to step under. There it is, beautiful. Unfortunately hitting a 0 and already trying to fakey his opponent out. Will Ditter go for the freeze right now? He's trying to go for it and catches it at 29-2. Racy praying range there, unfortunately. And 27 again. The barrage is that Odeon Ward coming in clutch and keeping himself the Carol's top on 2 for that mage defense bonus to ensure he doesn't get frozen back again either.
Racy, food is on. Ditter Bitter certainly in control of the fight for the time being. Should catch this freeze. Another staff bash coming in, but it really doesn't matter at this point. He's so far ahead that he just needs to back on up. Even the ACB spec does good damage, but still not enough here. He's so far down.
No, absolutely. And right now, unfortunately, Racy is going to fall in this first best of 5, but it is not over yet. DDS spec coming in for 0-0. Ditter just going to, just finish him off nice and easily with the barrage, I believe. And those barrages really coming in clutch there. Great victory for Ditter.
A lot of damage there with ACB as well. Either that or the Kodai. I do really love the ballista that comes out, but I just think the consistent damage from the ACB just triumphs those bigger hits that you get from the ballista, especially when it's primarily a magic and ranged based fight, and you go in for those special attacks at the poke every now and again with melee.
Now, we spoke about Racy obviously having to realize that Ditter uses a lot of magic and prioritizing mage prey, but will Ditter also be using range prey quite a lot, knowing that Racy uses that ACB? Will Racy change his strategy up, use mage a little bit more? And it looks like he is. Both catching freezes, you know, nothing much coming on right now, and looks like Phoenix Necklace. It is neck and neck right here, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is.
Put it on. Yes.
Phoenix Necklace just gets
And it
broken.
broke.
Straight up to 41 HP. Is this going to be what it is? A 25 hit. Racy needs one more hit against him. Wow. So close.
P-Neck winds up being the difference maker once again.
Microphone, we are being counted down. We've got 4 seconds to go until this third fight of the final semi-finals. Ditter Bitter versus Racy on 45 defense builds.
Before the end of the fight. Unfortunately, he wastes his last one, which didn't hit too much, but he needs to hit now. Gets the DD, and he's still in this fight. He's actually at is that a food advantage he has right now, plus the offensive potion too?
It does look like Racy is in the lead at the moment in terms of food, so whilst this might be a familiar setup for Ditter Bitter, it doesn't seem to be working out in his favor as much as he'd hoped.
And Racy doing an absolutely fantastic job of getting back into this. And again, utilizing that dehyde top, remembering that Ditter likes to use magic, but in this fight, the ACB is paramount. The DPS it does is just uncomparable to any other weapon. Taking his pro for a second there, Ditter has been smited. The DDS spec could have KO'd him as well. He's frozen in place still. Oh my gosh, Ditter is going to have to clutch it back, but he's out of food, and he's out of HP, and he's out of luck. Racy takes this one and gets back into this, 2-1.
Win 2 in a row, whereas Ditter just needs to win 1 fight, so he's definitely got the upper hand.
How clever
in
is
here.
this?
And you can see straight away double highs to try and combat that magic that Ditter loves to use.
He's splashed already for Ditter. That's 2 splashes now. Racy reading his opponent like an absolute wizard and going for it again. The range hits off prayer, 32, beautiful. Ditter sitting in his robes a bit too long there, but putting out a lot of damage and really utilizing his bruise very cleverly here as well. He's able to get back into the fight. Racy needs to get a freeze and step underneath, but Ditter does catch it. That was crucial for him. DDS coming in 8-7, getting the DD. Another one on parade range, but unfortunately a 0-0 on the squishy Carol's leather armor as well. That's surprising.
A very good read from Racy, putting the protect from melee, but then letting it drop the second time round. And again, it could have happened twice now. He's been specced out by Ditter. Ditter, unfortunately, hitting zeros. That's just the nature of it. Goes the way it goes sometimes. RNG can be a blessing or a sin.
Oh, these fakies right now from Racy, the whip hits, just absolutely decimating Ditter Bitter. He needs to get back into this fight, catch the next freeze. Although saying that, he has actually up a little bit of food, I believe. And
look at his potion management once again. Running
wow,
a little bit
was that 30 stab?
That was, yeah, if that was a DDS spec, that can be pretty powerful.
That was a DDS poke of 30.
You'll take that any day of the week, right?
For sure, that was intended.
Unfortunately for Ditter, though, he's actually getting him off prayer quite a few times, hitting a lot of zeros right now and realizing that he's got to stop using magic and start changing his play style, using range and melee much more due to the low defense bonuses that Racy currently has. But Racy it back into it, going for the ACB again, being very heavy with it and catching Ditter in robes quite a lot. The 22 whip through the prayer as well. And Racy's going an absolute tear right now.
And Racy still has 100% spec left. I don't think I've seen him use a single DDS spec. He had a successful poke of the 30, but still with the specs available. Now trying to swap there, but Ditter catches the freeze just in the nick of time. Now looking to get under his opponent, back over to his barrage. Racy in this situation, he's going to be able to get out of there, but Ditter, he's got a chance to take control of the pace of the fight as he's starting to output some damage of his own.
Ditter now healing up as well. Racy taking that opportunity to make sure that he's not in danger of dying, but a 42 to take him down as well. One of the things that's really interesting, the last few freezes that we've seen come from these players, you've seen Racy really utilize that melee. Just as we mentioned before, unfortunate for Ditter Bitter, once again, hitting a 0-0 when it wasn't protect from melee. It definitely has been pure spam. You are right in that front. If you were Ditter Bitter right now, you've got to be pretty mad.
Oh man, I'd be really angry because especially since the fact that Racy's opted for that low defense bonus versus melee, but has got the mage defense. Not only is he splashing every single freeze, but he's also hitting 0/0 DSs.
He's got a
this
pretty,
next freeze is going to be so crucial, and Racy does manage to catch it, but opting not to step underneath, although he's going to go for it now, potentially. And he's up quite a bit of food. The 12 spec could have been a bit higher for him. And currently, Ditto on the ropes. Again, is he opting for that ACB spec?
Yes. Yes, it was. Every ACB spec I did in this tournament was intended.
Well,
Every
with
time, I'm not too
60%
sure.
spec, perhaps
I'm
that
not
one
sure.
wasn't a mistake. I mean, if that ends up making him win the fight, look at Ditterbitter right now, 1 anglerfish left, whereas Racy has 4 anglerfish and 2 brew doses for full HP. Don't take any risks. There's
And that's
no
what he's
way
done.
that you can get comboed out, and he's done exactly that. Yeah.
That's a vibe kill when you're in a situation like that. You're like, okay, you know, the HPs are pretty close. If I catch the freeze, then the next attack you see, wow, he's got a full bar of HP.
I was going to say, we've seen comebacks in this tournament before. They've happened. And right now, Ditter trying his best he can to stay in the fight. But the ACB coming
take
through.
it down. Racy
Very
read
clever.
him to death.
Man, difference match. This is the semi-finals of who will fight Manx in the final. Here we go. Ditter opting for the DDS off the bat, but actually faking it, going for the mage off the start and catching that freeze and going for the step under straight away, Ben.
Yeah, Racy getting himself trapped in the corner. And unfortunately, as a competitor, this is where you feel the pressure the most. Ditter, as he was up 2-0 in the series, Racy's been able to battle back, forcing the third matchup here. We've already highlighted the cash that's available for the winner here, and Ditter's done a great job of just dictating the pace early on, already dumping 3 of his specs.
And both utilizing the two-way switches again right now. The Kodai for Ditter with the +1, as I said before. The Racy in the ACB going for the DDS spec. Oh, the fakey again. Ditter faking me so well. He realizes this is a clutch moment for him. He's got to be able to output as much damage and minimize as much damage and faking his opponent out as much as possible. And Racy right now needs to catch this freeze, needs to get up on top of them, and needs to try, you know, bring back a few more fights.
He's definitely been taking a lot of damage in the last 30 seconds or so. Really is up against a huge wall at the moment, and that wall is Ditterbitter sitting at the top, dabbing away. The damage is going through, both sitting at 30 HP. All the way back down now to 20 to each one. That hits just keep flying. Left, right, left, right. Which one of them is going to fall first?
I'll tell you what, Ditter is actually up quite a bit of food right now, but he has utilized all his specs. All it takes for Racy that one spec on the right prayer, but Ditterbitter anticipating it, keeping prayer melee up, switching between the two to try and, you know, get Racy into a bad frame of mind. What's he going to do? He's taking his time, potting up, you know, trying to calm himself down and make the most of whatever potentially has.
Unfortunately, it was a 25 hit, even through protect from melee. Really nice from him, and he managed to then follow up that with a pretty decent bolt back from Ditterbitter to pull himself back through into this fight. We're now looking at 1 anglerfish and 2 Brudo sips from Racy compared to 4 anglers, and is that 7 brew sips for Ditterbitter?
Ditter's just smashing him with the Sarah sword right now, constantly. And the thing is about pures, when you're fighting on a pure, you usually tend to pray range majority because that's just the most DPS that it does. But that Sarah sword coming in clutch right now with the B ring as well, and actually changing up a little bit. Oh, the DDS spec! Almost got.
Well,
Oh,
there
the
you have it, the
recoil
recoil.
KO!
Walking around with 0
Finishing it off.
Okay, guys, what a final semi-final that was. Racy versus Ditterbitter. Ditterbitter taking the win, but you did give up a good fight, Racy. You were down 2, and you came back. What happened in that last fight there?
I don't really know. I just got DDS really high, and on one defense, there's not much you can do about that to come back, to be honest with you. So, you know, just one of those things, I guess. But I think it was quite demotivating losing 2 in a row. Like, I think a lot of people start to go down like a horrible thought process at that point. I just kept it together and brought it back. I beat you on 70 defense, which is like your main thing, so I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, I double carols, man, got you. But yeah, I'm happy with my performance overall. I mean, I was supposed to be like a backup, so I feel like I've come pretty far.
You've done really well. You've won yourself at least $1,500, and you're actually about to go fight Bodhi for a shot at $2,500 for 3rd place. So I'm actually going to send you off. Again, thanks so much for joining us, Racy. And
20 past 2, and here we are looking at a replay between Boaty and Racy in that 70 defense fight where they both opted for the AGS and no helmet. 43 swing. That's what happens when you don't wear a helmet in battle, folks. Make sure you keep that on.
That was a slice at the end too to add insult
Off with
to
his
injury.
head.
And these fights too as well.
Whoa, 26-22.
His movement, the way he's tick dancing back and forth constantly, that's just giving him the advantage that he needed. And actually, Racy in the second fight managed to best Boaty by quite a bit of food as well, giving him quite a bit of a confidence boost. But unfortunately for him, the fight after this, I believe Boaty did end up taking, having 45 defense, that being one of his main builds that he's practiced on in the past, and showing today that, you know, he's not just an Iron Man, he's also able to, to still PK. Old Boaty's still around, deep down under. And Racy too, man, and the underdog coming through to take 4th place. That must be such a great feeling.
Oh yeah, both these guys killed it all tournament long. Bodhi just slightly edged him out here. And look, Racy also had a chance to find himself in the grand finals. Almost brought it back down 0-2 against Bitter. Just fell in that 5th and final game. So props to both these guys.
Yep, did a fantastic job of getting as far as he did. And interestingly enough, I think considering the whitewash that Mank showed across to Ditter, if Racy had actually managed to get through, I think we could have potentially seen some different fights there. Maybe he had a chance to actually take Mank out. Obviously, we'll never know because it didn't turn out that way. However, he still did a fantastic job, just like everyone else did in this tournament. Boaty, and I'm sure we're going to see it in a few seconds.
Wow, that was such a clutch fight there as well.
It really was.
Only just winning that one, and then this is the one defense one we talked about, and this is what Boaty really excels at. Although there, actually being chanced for 618 DDS spec, could have been KO'd by Racy, which would have been the difference between a lot of money as well. But Boaty obviously, remaining calm, cool, collected, and getting those ESPs of 24-23 one tick from the Staff of Light. That was beautiful as well.
I believe this was the fight that Boaty actually ended up losing, though, and you can see both players at this point are out of food. It's coming down to the last few hits. Oh no, Boaty won, didn't he?
That was the decider right there,
though.
And there you have it, guys. They are all of the fights that I had during the PvP All-Stars tournament. I did manage to make it to the semi-finals. Unfortunately, I did lose to Bitter 3-2, followed by losing to Boaty 3-2. Ending up in 4th place. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. I thought the event was awesome. I really enjoyed being on the stage and hybriding against everybody. The only thing that I'd like to have done differently in hindsight would have actually just been to train, because in total I believe I managed to get maybe 5-6 hours at a push before actually attending the event, so I didn't really get any practice. And as you guys know, I primarily do PVM, so I haven't actually done any PKing in the longest of times. Regardless, it was a really fun time, and overall I'd say I did somewhat decent. And also for the Aiza Geezers and for Ian Pure Spam, every single ACB spec that I did in the tournament I intentionally did. I think looking back at my fights, I probably did about 75% of my damage with range. I wish that was a statistic, but that was basically what I was going for. Like I said, I was quite rusty, I didn't get much practice, so my strategy throughout this tournament was basically to fake them with Mage and then one tick bolt them with the ACB, and as you can see, it worked pretty well. I managed to get 4th place, so happy days. If you guys have managed to watch all the way through the video, I'm assuming that you didn't watch it live. I hope that you've enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed my performance. And I do have a question for those of you that are still listening. Do you guys think that I should do some more PvP content? I'm very tempted to get back into it after this tournament. Relit the PvP fire which is within me. So if you guys would like to see some PvP content, make sure you let me know down in the comments. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I'll see you very soon. I don't know, I feel high on life right now. I'm just talking shit, to be honest. I don't know.